You may have heard about the recent story involving Andy Byron, the former CEO of Astronomer, and that unforgettable moment at the Coldplay concert, where the stadium's kiss cam landed on him and his company's chief people officer, Kristin Cabot. In front of thousands of fans and soon after millions of viewers online, the two were seen on the big screen in what looked like a close embrace. The reaction was immediate, both inside the stadium and across social media. The moment was awkward, to say the least, and the fallout was swift. Andy Byron was placed on administrative leave by his company, and within just a few days, he had resigned from his position. The story quickly became a major topic in tech and business circles, sparking countless memes, think pieces, and plenty of speculation about what really happened behind the scenes. Now, if you're watching this channel, you're probably here for crypto content, not celebrity gossip or tech CEO scandals. And you might be wondering, what does this have to do with Bitcoin, Ethereum, DeFi, or the broader world of digital assets? After all, Astronomer is a data infrastructure company, not a blockchain project. There's no evidence that this incident had any direct impact on crypto prices, trading volumes, or even regulatory discussions around digital assets. But what's interesting about this story, and why it's worth unpacking for crypto enthusiasts and investors, is that it shines a light on some universal truths about leadership, trust, and the nature of risk topics that matter just as much in crypto as they do in traditional tech. Let's break this down. In traditional companies, especially ones led by a single high-profile CEO, a lot of the company's public image, investor confidence, and even its future prospects can be tied directly to that one person's reputation. When a CEO gets caught up in a scandal, whether it's personal or professional, it can send shockwaves through the organization, no matter how strong the underlying business may be. Investors get nervous, employees get unsettled, partners and customers start asking questions. And in today's world, where news travels at the speed of a tweet, the damage can spread faster than ever before. That's exactly what happened in the Andy Byron case. One moment, he was the respected leader of a rapidly growing tech firm. The next, he was the subject of viral videos, online jokes, and serious questions about his conduct. The company's board had to act quickly to limit the fallout, and in the end, Byron stepped down. This kind of rapid reputational shift isn't unique to tech. We see it in politics, in sports, in entertainment. But it's especially relevant in the world of crypto, where the line between personal and professional can sometimes blur, and where the actions of a single founder or leader can have outsized consequences for an entire project or even a whole sector. Here's where the crypto angle comes in. Many of the most interesting blockchain projects, especially the truly decentralized ones, are designed specifically to reduce the risk of any one person becoming a single point of failure. The idea behind Bitcoin, for example, is that no single individual controls the network. There's no CEO, no charismatic founder that the whole project depends on. Instead, the network is maintained by a global community of developers, miners, node operators, and everyday users. If anyone steps away, gets into trouble, or even disappears, the network keeps running. That's one of the big promises of decentralization, and it's a big part of why so many people see crypto as a fundamentally different kind of asset class. But let's be honest. Not every crypto project is as decentralized as Bitcoin or Ethereum. In fact, a lot of the newer coins, tokens, and DeFi platforms have very visible founders or core teams. In some cases, these individuals are almost as prominent as traditional CEOs. Their public statements, social media activity, and even their personal lives can have a real impact on how investors and users perceive the project. We've seen this play out time and again in crypto history. When a well-known founder gets into legal trouble or says something controversial, or even just takes a step back from day-to-day leadership, It can lead to price swings, community drama, and sometimes even a loss of confidence in the project itself. That brings us back to the Andy Byron story. If something similar happened in the crypto world, if a high-profile founder were caught up in a public scandal, the reaction could be even more dramatic. Crypto markets are famously volatile, and investor sentiment can shift in an instant. News travels fast, especially on platforms like Twitter, Reddit, and Telegram, where most crypto communities live. A single tweet, a rumored screenshot, even an offhand comment in an interview can be amplified, distorted, and spread across the ecosystem before anyone has time to verify the facts. That's why experienced crypto traders and investors pay close attention not just to the technology and the tokenomics, but also to the people behind the project. It's also worth noting that in crypto, the stakes are often higher when it comes to personal reputation. Many projects rely on community trust and engagement. If the founder or the core team loses credibility, it's not just the price that can suffer. The whole ecosystem, developers, users, partners, can start to drift away. We've seen this happen with some of the biggest crypto collapses and controversies. When trust is broken, it's very hard to rebuild, especially in a space that prides itself on transparency and accountability. Now, I want to bring in another perspective, because I know a lot of you watching this are interested in both crypto and sports betting. There's actually a pretty interesting parallel here. In the world of sports betting, odds can shift dramatically based on news about a key player, an injury, a suspension, even a personal issue that might affect their performance. The best bettors know how to distinguish between real news that matters and noise that doesn't. They also know that sometimes the market overreacts to a story, creating opportunities for those who can keep a cool head and see the bigger picture. Crypto markets are a lot like that. When a founder scandal breaks, the market often reacts first and asks questions later. Prices can swing wildly based on rumors, speculation, and even jokes. But over time, the projects with real substance, strong communities, and true decentralization tend to recover, while the ones that are overly dependent on a single leader can struggle to regain their footing. That's why, if you're serious about crypto, it pays to do your own research, look beyond the headlines, and think critically about how much risk you're really taking on with any given project. Let's talk for a moment about the role of transparency in all of this. One of the defining features of crypto is that so much information is out in the open. Blockchain explorers let you see every transaction. Smart contract code is often published for anyone to review. Governance proposals are debated in public forums. That level of transparency is great for catching problems early, but it also means that when something does go wrong, everyone knows about it instantly. There's no hiding, no spinning the story behind closed doors. Everything is out in the open, for better or worse. In traditional companies, there's often a layer of PR, legal, and corporate communications between the public and the truth. In crypto, the distance between what happens and what people see is often much shorter. That can be uncomfortable, but it's also a sign of maturity in the space. The more projects embrace real transparency and real accountability, the less vulnerable they'll be to the kind of reputational shocks that brought down Andy Byron. Another angle to consider is how communities respond to scandal or controversy. In crypto, the community is often the backbone of the project. When things go south, you'll see some members rally around the leadership, others call for change, and still others simply move on to the next thing. The speed and intensity of these reactions can be overwhelming, but they're also a sign of how engaged and passionate crypto communities can be. That engagement is a double-edged sword. It can make the highs higher, but also the lows much lower. So what's the lesson here for crypto investors and traders? First, understand the difference between centralized and decentralized projects. Know who's really in charge and how much power they have. Look for projects that are building real community governance, not just paying lip service to decentralization. Pay attention to the people, not just the technology. And remember, in the age of social media, news travels fast and reputations can change overnight. Finally, let's not forget that this is still a young industry, and we're all learning as we go. The Andy Byron story is a cautionary tale, but it's also a reminder that crypto is trying to do things differently. The goal is to build systems that are resilient, transparent, and accountable systems that can't be taken down by a single person's mistake or misstep. That's a big vision, and it's going to take time to get there. But with every scandal, every controversy, and every lesson learned, we're moving a little closer. If you're interested in more stories about leadership, transparency, and risk in crypto, or if you want to hear about real examples where founder drama did have a direct impact on the markets, let me know in the comments. This is the kind of conversation we should be having more often, because the more we talk about these issues, the better prepared we'll all be for whatever comes next. Thanks for watching, and if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. This channel is all about making sense of the crypto world, one story at a time. See you in the next one.